Welcome back to No Proxy. Our friend Michael asked us to make this video because he doesn't know how to make an elf deck. So we're going to show him and we're going to show you guys today. Intro.
Welcome to the Don't Ramp It segment. Do we need an Elven prayer?
I don't think you do pray to elves.
Okay, I don't think they have no prayers on this. It's not, that'd be like a dwarven or...
I would pray to the dwarves, yeah.
Dwarves make sense. So the bad thing about this, the blue-green elf deck, is it had 15 mana cards, way too much. Like it had mana rocks, mana dorks, and sorceries like cultivates. The problem with that is you really just only want mana dorks in an elf deck because they're elves, first of all, they're bodies, and if you're not going to tap them for mana, you can at least pump them up and swing, or you can chump block to absorb.
And in this case, this is the Lord of the Rings elf precon deck,
Yeah,
right?
so, this is the precon for the Lord of the Rings. Also, the rampant growths and the cultivates are a problem because you cast cultivate, and then all you're going to do next turn is then cast rampant growth. So you're ramping into nothing because elves are small.
Yeah,
they're not a high mana creature. You don't need a whole lot of top end mana.
And how many? That has 15.
Yeah,
ramp cards in it?
Way too many ramp.
Yeah. You're not going to get anywhere if you're only ramping and you have no other strategy in place. You're just getting mana. You're not doing it right. If you find yourself with way too much mana, every game, you got to pull out 50% of your ramp cards. You can even bring it down to 5. It doesn't take a lot, especially with an elf deck. Everything costs 1 to 3 mana at the most for an elf. Here we have our elf deck, commander deck, and we have 10 ramp cards. 9 of them are creatures, and we have 1 sorcery, and that's all you need. We never have mana problems with this deck. That's just the correct way to do it. I don't recommend you don't ever want to be in a situation where you have too much mana and you're only drawing 1 to 2 mana cost creatures. I think that's the wrong way to do it.
That one's battlefield tested. It's practical.
Yeah, this one's been tried a lot.
Yeah.
We did try the Lord of the Rings deck though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it lost every game. It had 20 mana out every game. 5 1/1 elves, and it did no damage. Won no games. Had no card draw, so.
Awful. 2 different players, 2 different games.
Yeah.
2 different teams. It's just didn't work.
But yeah, keep the ramp low. Keep it no more than 10. 10 for this deck is a little bit too much, but I think it's fine for how this specific deck is built. But definitely keep it under 10. And next we're going to show you some strategies that you should build your deck around. Different play styles that you can build them around. What's good and what's not good.
Hey, we're going into strategy. First up with the blue-green elves. The strategy for this deck is voting. It's a voting mechanic. Oh, voting mechanic. It's awful. It's awful because voting in general, everyone's going to pick, there's usually 2 choices. Everyone's going to pick the choice that benefits you the least. So it doesn't make any. It's why even vote.
It's not really a vote.
Yeah,
It's you can actually cross out the more powerful ability on a voting card, and just it'll play exactly the same.
Yep, every game. That's just how it goes. That's like in theory, it sounds fun. Yeah, this will be fun. I'm gonna play it in my game. But then in actuality, you only get the one effect every game. The least powerful.
And in testing, you only ever got draw power. Even though there are a lot of other good things for people to vote for, you only ever got draw power, and you would just draw a card every turn, and it did nothing, and it didn't. And the cards that you drew were ramp cards. So
you drew a cultivator or rampant growth.
Did nothing. So that's what that deck is built around, just voting and ramp. The deck that we built is focused more on generating tokens, lots of board wipes. We have 9 board wipes. Some of them are one-sided board wipes, other ones just clear the field. You gotta clear the field often with an elf deck or any token deck, because what you're trying to do is if you're in a situation where you're losing, you wipe the board, restart, and you keep restarting until you gain the advantage, and then you stop board wipe. You don't need a board wipe anymore because you're gonna win. It's got some game enders here, mostly a lot of +1/1 to all your creatures, trample, things that affect your whole board. And then you have mostly the creatures. The elves that you add to this aren't important necessarily. They just need to be as long as they're not all mana dorks, you're fine. They just need to do something when they deal damage, or they need to be useful in some way. A lot of death touch for your black elf creatures.
Next up, we'll show you guys some cards we recommend you add. Going in to the recommended cards now for the elves.
For the deck that we built, I recommend for your commander Lathril, Blade of the Elves. You're just going to be generating elves when you deal damage. Your secondary ability doesn't matter. You're not using it for that really, but you can tap 10 untapped elves you control, and each opponent loses 10 life, and then you gain 10 life.
It's nice when the opponents forget you have 10 on the field.
Yeah, it is. You do get more value out of it in a free-for-all than you do in a 1v1, but it's still a good card. Another card, it's not an elf, but it's going to be Oran Frostfang. Gives all your creatures that you control death touch.
Love that.
Which is you need that for an elf deck, because most of your elves are going to be 1/1s, 1/2s. They're not very powerful. We also added Toski, Bearer of Secrets.
Yes.
It's a legendary squirrel.
It's in the forest.
Yeah, it's there for card draw, but it's indestructible, so it's tough to get rid of, and you're going to need the card draw because you're going to be playing cards more than you're drawing. Then we have Craterhoof Behemoth. It's a highly recommended card.
Ooh.
Pumps up all your creatures. It's good.
Yes.
We also have a few board wipes. In Garrick's Wake is good. It's a one-sided board wipe. Definitely recommend it. High mana cost, but it doesn't matter because you added 10 or less ramp cards to the deck. Kindred Dominance.
Oh.
It's basically the same thing as far as you're concerned. Plague Wind. That's another good one. These are all high mana cost, but again, it doesn't really matter. Hurricane is an anti-flyer. You're going to have no flying in your deck with an elf deck. So you need lots of flying destruction. Whip-Tongue Hydra. It's another anti-flyer. It's a creature, when it enters the battlefield, it destroys all creatures with flying. And then Whirlwind destroys all creatures with flying.
Yes.
So you can see what I recommend has a lot to do with killing things that can get over your elves.
Those blue-white players are not going to be able to fly over this elven army. are going into so the new cards from the Lord of the Rings. We recommend putting into an elf deck. Any whatever elf deck you're trying to build. One of the new ones is Haldir. So Haldir, Loran Lieutenant. Enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Has vigilance, and then you can dump mana into it. 5 mana or 6 mana into end of turn. Other elves you control gain vigilance and get 1+1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on Haladril. Strong because it's X cost, so you dump as much mana as you want into this. Great when you have excess mana. You're pumping them.
Yep.
Oh, the Legolas. You gotta have a Legolas in here. It's an elf. It's like probably one of the most famous elves.
This is the standard Legolas Greenleaf card.
This is the green one. He's got reach. He's a 2/2. He can't be blocked with creatures power 2 or less. The most important part of him though is when he deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. That's why he's in here. He's dealing damage. He's drawing you cards. You want that. You want that. We got Arwen, Weaver of Hope. Arwen's good because each other creature you control enters with an extra 1/1 counter equal to her toughness. She's only a 2/1. That's okay though because it turns all your 1/1s into 2/2s immediately. I'll take that.
Yeah.
And if you can pump her in some ways, which you probably will, bam.
It's especially good because having a 2/2 it's a huge advantage from having a 1/1, especially when you have so many counters out.
Yes.
And you're having to multi-block with them.
Exactly.
It adds up a lot more.
If you have to block a 4/4, if your elves are 2/2, you only have to use 2 elves to block a 4/4 instead of 4 1/1s. So you're going to get a lot more. A new equipment, artifact, Lorthrin Blade. This one's nice because it's cheaper to equip an elf, so it's pretty synergistic. And whenever the creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature defending player controls. So it kind of gives you that burn that you don't really get in a green any kind of elf.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. We got a new instant for the elves. Galadrim Ambush. So this is kind of a sneaky trap, I would say. When someone's attacking you, you play this. And you get to make X elves, 1/1 elf tokens, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. But the best part is prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. So you're the only one doing combat damage.
Yeah. those X costs are especially good in an elf deck because you're spending 1 to 2 mana to pull an elf out. Mm-hmm. So
it's brilliant.
You have tons of spare mana for those type of cards.
We got another one-sided board wipe. This is I couldn't believe they printed this. On Synergy, this is I love these. Choose a creature type. Return all creatures that aren't the chosen type to their owner's hands. It's a cyclonic rift for everyone but you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose elf.
That's a game ender late game.
And then this is the one everyone's gonna want to. Man, this is actually one reason you'll buy the precon and strip this card out. This is we dropped this is from the set.
No.
You get this from a booster pack. If you're looking enough to pull this is going in. This should have been in the precon. I don't know why this wasn't in the precon.
Because the precon's terrible.
Yeah. This is Elven Course Enchantment, 4 mana. You can look at the top card of your library at any time. Bam. You can cast creature spells off the top.
It's going to be a 1 mana, 1/1 elf.
Yeah, mana dork. And then creatures you control have tap for any color mana. It turns everything into a mana dork.
So you don't need any other ramp cards if you draw that.
Yes.
You can throw the other ones in the trash.
I love that. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. We want to tell you how grateful we are to join us here today, talking about elves, all things woodland. And if you like this video, check out our other videos we got up right now.